Okay. So the story of Kacha. This story takes place a while ago, but not so long ago. Kacha. So here's the story: the demons and the asuras were fighting, as they do often, and Shukracharya had a special mantra called Sanjeevani. And you say this mantra can revive somebody back from the dead. Anyone that's dead, I mean, it's severely dead, they come back to life. So the Devas were a little bit like perturbed because Brihaspati didn't have the Sanjeevani. So they felt that, our enemies have this special, technique, and we don't, so we need to get it. So they devised a plan, and they went to Kacha, who was the son of Brihaspati. And they said, please go to Shukracharya and become his disciple and learn this Sanjeevani for us. So Kacha was a little bit hesitant at first because, it's kind of a dangerous mission. This is the preceptor of the enemy camp. It's well known who he is. He can't just lie. But the other thing is, Shukracharya isn't evil. He's actually very noble-minded. He's very liberal. And that's the whole reason that he became the guru for the demons. He's just a liberal-minded Brahmin. And so the demons came to him and said, please, be our guru. So he said, okay. He isn't like an evil person, like some maniacal, demonic force. He's just, he doesn't like have any preconceived notion of these are evil people or these are good people. He's just kind of above that. So they kind of banked on that even if the son of Brihaspati comes to become his disciple, he'll give him, because he'll give knowledge to anybody that wants it. So Shukracharya is also the master of the planet Venus. That's why it's called Shukra in the Vedic astrology. Venus is called Shukra, and the planet Jupiter is ruled by Brihaspati. So his planet, it's called Guru, because he's the guru of the Devas. So in Vedic astrology, they call Jupiter Guru. And Thursday is Guruvar, which means the day of Jupiter. And Friday is Shukravar, which is the day of Venus. And we call it Thursday and Friday. But so Kacha, he went there to Shukracharya, and he said, please, accept me as your disciple. So Shukra was happy, He was a little bit hesitant at first, but he was like, become my disciple. So the thing is that Kacha wanted to make sure that he kind of kept his role, like that he was in his guru's good graces. And the interesting way that he did it is Shukracharya had one daughter named Devyani. And so basically he would play music for her and he would flirt with her. And then she liked him. But because he was a brahmachari, he was studying under Shukracharya, that was as far as it went. But what happened was the demons, they didn't trust him. The asuras. They're like, oh, we know what's going on. He's trying to trick us. These gods have some plan. And it was true, but, so that they were like, we'll fix him. So what they did was, part of his duties was he would go in the forest and collect wood for doing fire. And then, Shukracharya had cows, so he would tend to the cows. So he would be actually not at home that much. And so one time, Kacha had gone out with the herd, and the demons found him. And they're like, we know what you're up to. And they killed him. And then the cows came back without him, because the cows know how to go home. So then Devyani said, Father, Father, the cows have returned, but Kacha has not. So then Shukracharya went out looking, and they found him, and he was dead. So he used the Sanjeevani mantra, and Kacha came back to life. So then the demons were like, oh, dang. So this trend continued for a long time. And every day the demons would kill him. And every day Shukracharya would find him and bring him back to life. That's got to be pretty heavy. It's got to be a pretty loathsome kind of job. So eventually, but thanks to Devyani, kept on saying, where is he? Shukracharya would just kind of be inactive, and she would prompt him, So the demons said, we've had enough of this. So what they did was they killed Kacha, and then they ground him up. They like burned him into ashes and ground him up into powder. And then they went to Shukracharya, and Shukracharya used to drink in the evening. And they ground up Kacha and put it into some wine and like mixed it in, so like he emulsified. And then they gave it to Shukracharya, and he drank him. And then Devyani, the cows came back, and so Devyani said, oh, Kacha has returned, and Shukracharya said, oh man. So they went looking for him, they couldn't find him. So Shukracharya had tree-collared gyan to some extent, which is you're totally aware, So he did a meditation, and he thought, and then he realized that Kacha was inside him. And he's like, I can't bring him back, because when he forms again, then he'll pop right out of me, and I'll die. But somehow, Kacha, because Kacha's not of the order of a human, the consciousness was kind of still there. So he talked to him. And Kacha said, well, teach me Sanjeevani. And then if I pop out of you, I'll bring you back to life. So then Shukracharya is like, okay. There's a little bit of hesitancy there, but then he's like, yeah. So then he taught him the Sanjeevani. So he said the mantra, and then Kacha popped out. And then Kacha brought him back to life. But then Kacha got the mantra. So then he was like, I think I should visit my father now. I've been gone for so long. So he starts, heading off. And so Devyani comes. And says, well, what about me, I thought we were going to be together. And so then Devyani, so Kacha says, no. He said, a guru is like a father. And so that would mean that you're like my sister. And she got all angry. And she actually cursed him that while he would have the mantra, even though he could show it to others, he couldn't actually work if he used it. If he tried to do it, it wouldn't work. So then he said, I'm innocent. Why, if you're cursing me, I curse you, that even though you're the daughter of a great and powerful Brahma Rishi, you will marry below your caste because you don't act like a respectable Brahmana. So then he left. So then Devyani was sitting with a friend of hers who was the demon princess. And they were sitting, and Devyani was feeling sad about how she had lost Kacha. And then, the demon princess was all like, because you like this boy, now our enemies got this mantra, and they started fighting, and the demon princess, she actually pushed her into a dry well, and she was stuck in the bottom. So she started to cry, and she was crying and lamenting, and so actually a king was riding by. His name was Yayati. He was the son of Nahusha, who was Nahusha was the grandson of Pururava. And Pururava was the son of Buddha, meaning the planet Mercury. And Mercury was the son of Chandra, the moon god. So basically, Pururava was the grandson of the moon god. And so Pururava's grandson was Nahusha. So Yayati was only a few generations removed from the deities. So he was very, handsome, and they're long-lived people living, thousands and thousands of years. And so he looked down. He heard the damsel crying, so he got off his horse and he saw the dry well, and he reached down and he grabbed her and he pulled her up. And then she was happy, and then she went to her father and told him what had happened. So the father went, because he's the guru of the demons. He went to the demon king and he said, first of all, I had a disciple, and every day you'd hack him to pieces. And then, your daughter, is mean to my daughter. You can find your own guru. I'm out of here. So they were like terrified, the demon king, because the guru gives you the strength. You know what I mean? He does all the jagyas and all these things, and makes it so that's how they get their power to do. They're fighting the demons, and so the devas have their guru, and he does jagyas for them, and it gives them power. And then the demons have theirs, and so that's how it's like a battle between the demons and gods, but really it's like a battle between the two different gurus. So the demon was like begging, please don't go. He said, what should I do? He said, well, I'm not it's my daughter's the one who's been the most offended. So then the demon king bows down to the daughter and says, we're your servants. And he says, actually, my daughter will become your slave now. So then that's what happened that's Kacha. That's the story of Kacha, and then it starts getting into the story of Yayati. And I mean, I guess that's a good, yeah.